Chapter 4 Husband, School Manager. My phone is gone. The breath of summer mint is unstable. The sentence shocked everyone present. Zhang Qingshan frowned. Gone. Mi Min almost gritted his teeth and shouted. Lie. After she finished sending the message, she obviously put her phone back in her original closet. Why did she disappear? But she quickly realized that she shouldn't be agitated, and tried to suppress her voice. How come it's gone? Who sent the message to Senior Lu? This poisonous big white lotus. Xiaomint looked back, smiled and looked at her. It should be someone who has taken my phone and knows the unlock code. Mi Min's face changed suddenly. How is it possible? Who knows your password? Must be someone who is usually close. The distance is too close. As long as you have the heart, you can see it. Xiaomint but smiled. Mi Min only felt cold on her back, and turned around and laughed. Is this the one who steals the phone now? So powerful? Hey, Xia, did your phone fall in the closet? While she was talking, she looked suspiciously back and forth in the closet. Finally, I saw a bright red phone case corner in the closet. Hey, what is this? Mi Min excitedly stepped forward and pulled out from the blanket. But as soon as she started, her movements stopped and her face was stiff. The phone is found. Zhang Qingshan also approached solemnly. Mi Min was sweating profusely, her hands were frozen in place, neither was entering nor retreating. Everyone quickly saw that she was holding only a thin mobile phone case with her fingertips, not a mobile phone at all. Xiaomint took a faint look, lowered her head and sniffed. Her soft voice became more innocent and pitiful, with a hint of crying accusation. The thief is so wicked, and he left me the phone case. Mi Min. The door of the dressing room was open, and a group of men in suits were passing by at this time. Headed by is an extremely tall man, wearing a tailor-made three-piece black suit. The corridor lights fell on his broad back, as if walking against the light. And black shredded hair cast shadows on the bridge of his tall nose, making him look tough and handsome, and his tight chin reveals a touch of the noble aura of a superior. Behind him were two respectful and flattering middle-aged men, and behind him was a group of young teachers. When the phrase "leave the phone case," a soft voice like weeping, the upright man headed for a halt, his straight spine stiffened. Sorry, I have something personal, please go ahead. A deep but mellow voice, with a majesty that can't hold his beak. The two middle-aged people who followed, nodded hurriedly, and walked away with a group of teachers. The tall and straight man stood still for a while, and heard a questioning sound from the room behind him, before he raised his foot and stepped in. Xia, you were still looking at your phone before I left. Why did it take a while and the phone was gone? There are still thieves in our school? All the people I knew in the locker room just now. Mi Min's volume increased. Not only took her out in one sentence, but also pointed out the possibility that Xiaomint could hide the phone when she saw the incident. Saying that, Lu Kitchen agreed and nodded. Why would the thief send a message to me? Xiaomint lowered her eyes. This senior is not a good product either. But as early as Lu Kitchen walked in front of her, she had taken the lead in knowing that the mobile phone was a key point based on the plot she knew. How could she get caught with nothing? Just now, she put on the costume in a hurry, and while tidying up the skirt, she pressed the buttons on her sleeves against her side face with force to make the mark of sleeping in clothes. At the same time, she took out her mobile phone from the closet and threw it directly down the flower bed from the side window. Time is urgent. This is the only way she has come up with. As long as there is no evidence, they cannot convict her anyway. I really didn't find the phone. She bit her lip and looked at the department head innocently. Walking to the closet, he took out the towels, blankets, and makeup box inside, and put them out one by one. Mi Min looked suspiciously, and was quickly dazzled by the sunlight outside. She couldn't help but see, and she saw the open window. Mi Min's eyes lit up. Did you throw away your phone? Do you want to deny the act of sending a message? Director Zheng is not a fool either. Following Mi Min's sudden realization gaze, he also found the window. Xiaomint leaned in her heart, and her slender fingers pinched the corners of her clothes tightly. Is it really going to be over? Her brain is running fast, and there is a chill in her back. In an emergency, she can hardly think of any perfect way to prove her innocence. She closed her eyes, her eyelashes trembled, and she was about to grit her teeth, denying to the end. But before he spoke, a low voice came from the door. There was a mobile phone that fell in the corridor next to you. Did you drop it? Xiaomint was taken aback. Everyone was stunned. Rhythmic and steady footsteps, very gentlemen stopped at the door. Zhang Qingshan took the lead to go out, and Xiaomint followed closely behind. Just walked to the door, in an instant, a tall figure appeared, and was caged above Xiaomint's sight. A faint scent of grass after the winter rain lingers around the tip of the nose. She looked up, only to see a sturdy, angular jaw. The next moment, the familiar mobile phone with the broken screen was handed to her. She was a little dazed, and out of instinct, she stupidly reached out and took it. In an instant, his hands overlapped. Sunlight is falling. The phone screen lights up suddenly. Is fingerprint unlocking? Xiaomint opened her mouth, looked at her thumb secretly, and slammed on the man's slender and beautiful index finger. With this touch, she clearly didn't press the phone. Not the lock she unlocked with her fingerprint. She looked down at the self-portrait of the original Xiaomint on the screen, then looked up at the slightly familiar black-silver tie between the other's neckline. Her forehead twitched. The eyes were dark, and a sudden MMP flew by in the bottom of my heart. The original body in the novel, married. Husband, school manager. The hero is coming. La la la. Chapter 5 Public order in your school needs to be strengthened. Dust fluttered in the sun, and a trace of it fell. Xiaomint felt that she had touched the other's warm and thinly callous fingertips, and her fingertips felt like acupuncture, numb. Release her hand, and she takes a step back in surprise. Before she died in her previous life, she never even talked about love. She is an unnamed 18line actor who has not enough appearance and worked hard to get together. Usually, there are few suitors. The one who talks to the opposite the most is the communication on the set. In this dress, she turned out to be a married person directly. She trembled. Stepped back to the wall behind him, holding the phone, tremblingly raised his delicate face like a flower bud. In an instant, against the light, the man's strong aura, coercion and aggression, accompanied by a chill, immediately attacked her. She moved her eyes along her straight and slender legs wrapped in suit pants and gradually moved up, and she saw the tall figure with a narrow waist and wide back. In this posture alone, she is even more outstanding than the male model she has seen in her previous life. And above the man's throat, there is a cold white, angular face, serried sword eyebrows, a tall nose, and thin lips. It looks handsome and noble, and has an alienated, non-human temperament. Xiaomint swallowed hard and moved her gaze to the side. Lu Qichen, who is still standing, is said to be 1.8 meters tall, and is considered a good-looking, delicate and beautiful seedling in the performance department, but at this moment, compared with this tall man, he looks short, with unclear features, and suddenly disappears. The world is gone. And this man who looks like a top celebrity, and a powerful boss-level figure who is also a school manager, is actually the original secret husband? Xiaomint's heart twitched. She won a super prize once she wore it. Luo Dong. Zhang Qingshan gave a warm and surprised greeting before calling back Xiaomint's soul. Mi Min and Lu Qichen also regained consciousness in an instant, and greeted them immediately. They almost forgot where they were, and their expressions showed the greatest respect and enthusiasm. Luo Tianlin, the most funded director of the drama school, is said to be involved in a number of domestic industries, with a total market value of more than 10 billion. He is also the behind-the-scenes boss of Kongai Entertainment, one of the top 3 domestic brokerage companies. But he never accepts interviews or attends public gatherings, and his private life is a mystery. Countless female artists wanted to hug his thigh, but they didn't have any chance to get close. But this year, he suddenly changed his style. When he came to the art school, he wanted to watch the students' year-end drama in person. Many people reported that he was looking for excellent seedlings and wanted to invest heavily in the film industry. 2 months before the year-end drama, countless girls in the art school got the news and went crazy. Rehearsal rooms are the most stressful recently. Dong Luo, thank you for finding your phone. Do you know how to get to the venue? I'll take you there. Even Mi Min put aside conspiracies and tricks. She wished she could do her best to approach the magic man, lift her chin 45 degrees, revealing the smile she thought was the most perfect. Even, she stepped forward without a trace, and cleverly blocked Xia Mint behind. Unfortunately, even so, none of the man's cold eyes fell on Mi Min's face. Xia Mint, who was blocked behind, raised her head, but fell into the dark and intense scorching eyes of the man. The security of your school seems to need to be strengthened. He uttered calmly and forcefully between his thin lips, with a hint of hoarseness. His eyes crossed everyone and fell on her. Only stared at her. Luo Xiao, I am very dedicated, and the reader's eyes are sharp. Author, smile, ask the babies for collection and tickets. Luo Xiao. Chapter 6 Divorce will kill. Is your school such a teaching environment? As the man's voice fell, the powerful oppressive force was like a mountain, and it immediately struck everyone present. And Xia Mint squeezed her skirt's hand and couldn't help but tighten it. In her memory, the memory of the original body about marriage, completely surged. When she was 18 years old, she married secretly because of an agreement between the two. But she didn't like the man's cold personality. After 3 years of marriage, she ran away from home and even threatened that she had another affiliation and that she would be with him after graduation divorce. Since their new marriage, they have been splitting houses and have never lived as a couple, but the original body does not know why, but she is naturally afraid of him, and she cannot bear it under the same roof. Dong Luo, our school will definitely investigate this matter thoroughly. I assure you. Find out the problem, solve it immediately, and make relevant punishments and improvements. Zhang Qingshan's eager voice hurriedly assured Xia Mint's sanity. But Xia Mint thought of the plot behind the novel in the next second. The original body was framed, and not long after Zhang Qingshan was caught in the locker room, the school manager husband arrived at the school. After he became aware of the scandal, Lenovo had been divorcing the original body, and Thunder was furious on the spot, and the next day he went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to go through the divorce procedures with her. Since then, the original body has succeeded in the death of a rich lady who should have the best resources. In the later stage of the novel, the original body is an 18th line with no resources and a black reputation. He was bullied by a group of female partners and completely set off the heroine's truth, goodness, and beauty, and finally ended with a miserable suicide. Xia Mint is an exciting spirit, and the goosebumps all over his body are coming out. This marriage can't divorce. Being divorced is the biggest reason why the original body has come to the fate of cannon fodder, leading to decline all the way. If you don't get divorced, you can enjoy the gorgeous life of a super luxury wife as long as you return home regularly and take on the work of the wife. Living in a villa, with the care of servants, maybe acting like a baby, but also getting super line resources in the circle, it is basically a script to walk sideways and lie down to win. Original. This is a good hand, and it's so thin. Xia Mint took a deep breath. No, she must explain this matter clearly today, and she must never get a divorce. She threw the phone from the window just now. He should have picked it up from the flower bed downstairs. But he said that he saw it in the corridor. Is this to help her? Then does he believe she is really innocent? Dong Luo, thank you for finding my phone. I just fell asleep, and I don't know who stole my phone and sent a message. After thinking about it in her heart, Xia Mint's cheeks were slightly red, and she turned her small face uncomfortably slightly. The angle of her small face happened to allow a man to see her delicate features and that little button imprint. And she stepped slightly to the left, leaning back and bowing, as if she was very respectful. The black, straight, silky hair slipped off in an instant. She stretched out to the phone again, but her slender fingers accidentally rubbed the man's slender and white fingers. In the entire corridor, the air seemed to freeze. The touch between the fingertips of the two, and the slightly hot temperature, seemed to be still. Xiaomint's heart was pounding. He saw the sleep marks on her face, right? Did he believe her? Wouldn't he divorce her the next day like the follow-up plot of the novel? Half the price. When she was about to die, the man's mellow voice finally rang coldly again. Check the corridor monitoring. As soon as S voice fell, the faces of everyone in the dressing room changed. Lu Kitchen clenched his fists with both hands. Mi Min's face was even more brutal. Xiaomint finally breathed a sigh of relief, almost sweaty behind her back. Mint, I was really scared at the time. Luo Xiao, afraid? Someone touched my hand. Mi Min, hello, shouldn't it be me who is afraid? Chapter 7 The truth is revealed. Cameras are installed in the corridors of the school, but usually the equipment is useless. It is impossible for ordinary students and teachers to adjust the video without the consent of the leaders. From the beginning to the end, Mi Min thought that his plan was seamless, and never thought about calling the video. After all, normal people see the girl in disheveled clothes, and have a private meeting with the boy in the locker room, plus an invitation text message. Everyone can imagine the complete story. And Director Zheng, who holds great power, is usually arrogant. As long as she stamps a bad student in her heart, there is no need for hard evidence. And now Mi Min, you just left 5 minutes before Lu Kitchen entered the dressing room, and Xiaomint hadn't left the dressing room since half an hour ago. Her mobile phone should have been on the side of the stairs at that time. Mi Min's face was pale, and she pointed to her hurrying figure in the surveillance screen. Director Zheng, I just changed my costume and went to rehearsal. The time was just coincidence. Later, I found out that I had forgotten the script and I came back. Zhang Qingshan squinted her eyes. Walking from the dressing room to the monitoring room, and then watching the entire video, it was enough for her to think through the whole thing. Then tell me, how does Xiaomint make an appointment with Lu Kitchen when she doesn't have a mobile phone? How can she be sure that you must have gone by that time? Only you can grasp this point in time. Mi Min, what are you hiding? What? Director Zheng, do you doubt me? Mi Min stepped back. She knocked down on a row of cabinets in the monitoring room. With a bang, her face looked very ugly. The rehearsal time is fixed, as everyone knows. I went there just now and I was almost late. Director Zheng, you can't think it's my fault just because I happened to be there. This basin of sewage. Mi Min felt that she was foolproof, and she was about to buckle Xiaomint's head. Why do you turn to yourself now? Mi Min looked at the Lang Jun man standing by the window, with a pitiful plea in his eyes. Dong Luo, please be fair. I am innocent. After I left, I didn't know what happened in the locker room. I didn't know anything. But the man took a step back in disgust without hesitation and avoided her sight. Mi Min's face was pale. She knew she was not as beautiful as Xiaomint. But she is also considered beautiful, and there are usually many boys chasing her. How so? Ming Xiaomint was pitiful just now. Luo Dong listened to her, and applied for her to check and monitor. Why did he look sick when he reached himself? The next moment, she heard a voice cold enough to push her into hell. Where is the rehearsal hall in the building? Mi Min suddenly felt numb in her hands and feet, as if pouring a basin of cold water on her head. She couldn't help but began to tremble. Standing by her side, Xiaomint, who continued to support skills, raised her small face, and a gleam of light flashed in her eyes. Show! This man! In the video, Mi Min left the locker room and turned left, suspecting to go to the rehearsal room. Later, she appeared on the surveillance screen again, but she hurriedly walked out from the corner of the corridor, to the left of the locker room, and then ran into Zhang Qingshan at the door. Mi Min, your rehearsal room is on the same floor as the girls' changing room. Why did you come out of the stairwell? You go upstairs or downstairs from the elevator on the right, and then come back from the safety staircase. Waiting in the stairwell, waiting. The fourth witness came, and it turned out to be me. Zhang Qingshan thought for a while, and soon found the key. She was furious. Is it this way? Mi Min shook her head helplessly. No, it's not, I just... A cold voice interrupted her again mercilessly. There is 1 hour left before the annual drama. Did Director Zhang go to watch the last rehearsal? With a word, Mi Min fell onto the security chair behind. Her legs are too soft to stand up. Zhang Qingshan checks and accepts the quality of student performances during the last rehearsal every year. Usually an hour or so in advance. Mi Min, Lu Kitchen, please explain to me clearly what is going on. Zhang Qingshan was furious. Of course she knows her own habits best. At this moment, in front of the school manager, as the dean of the acting department, she was designed by a female student and played in the palm of her hand. She almost punished another innocent student by mistake, and she had no face. You guys go to my office now. Xiaomint breathed a sigh of relief when she heard this. She has passed this first-class crisis, right? It's okay, can she withdraw? Since the truth has come to light, let the director take care of the rest, and President Kui is still waiting for me in the office. Under the dazzling sunlight, the man's black eyes are bottomless, like an ice pool, looking at the petite woman who is about to move 1 foot out of the monitoring room. This female classmate, can you please lead me the way? Xiaomint. Luo Xiao, I think this female classmate has a beautiful face and wonderful bones. Mint, stop talking, help. Chapter 8. This husband is steel. Thanks to Luo Dong, Zhang Qingshan hopes that he will forget this soon, especially her own confusion. Xia classmate, you take Luo Dong, it doesn't matter if the rehearsal is a little bit late. In an instant, Zhang Qingshan's eyes towards Xiaomint softened a lot, even with a kind of eagerness. To restore the bad impression of this student in Luo Dong's mind, it seems that this child is all up to it. Xiaomint was so expected that she could only bite the bullet and nod her head. She gestured to the man, please. But she had just stepped out of the room and reached the corridor, and the smell of winter grass came cold behind her, and her shoulders were pinched by a powerful palm in an instant. She shook her eyes and banged, just like catching a chick. She was caught by the man into the escape corridor. On the back, stick it on the mottled wall in 1 second. She raised her head, only to see the man's sturdy chin, without any scum, but full of angular aggressiveness. The lights in the corridor are shining, white and dazzling and scary. Xiaomint swallowed. The man's arm propped on the wall, directly confining her in the corner. Leaned down and sprayed her face with the smell of grass. I hope this is not the surprise you gave me on my 3rd wedding anniversary. The words are deep and cold, and they are cold. Xiaomint's eyes were black. Today or anniversary? Emma, no wonder the man in the novel is furious, and divorced the original the next day. How long have you not been home, et? His next sentence rubbed his ears, and it made Xiaomint's back cool. The original body is very resistant to being with this man. Not only does he only go home once a month, but he often chooses the day he is on a business trip before returning home. And this month, it was an excuse to prepare for the assessment of the final drama, and did not go back. Cough, cough, cough. Recalling this, Xiaomint feels so innocent. The original husband, Luo Tianlin, is the hidden boss in the book. As the incumbent of the Luo family, his status and power are against the sky, but he does not have much drama, just appears as the cousin of the hero in the novel. To say that Luo Tianlin's biggest role is probably the betrayal of the original body, because the original body likes the novel hero, she likes her husband's cousin. Xiaomint thought of this, and couldn't help crying. The original body is really dead. Her husband is obviously better than the male lead, and he is also very handsome. Why can't she think about it? Hiss. Xiaomint hadn't finished feeling, the moment she raised her head, the tip of her nose knocked on the man's chest. Unexpectedly, the muscles under the suit were so strong that she burst into tears. But Luo Tianlin's eyes were colder. Not yet awake? I thought you were awake enough when you threw your phone downstairs. Xiaomint's heart burst. Sure enough, he was the phone he found in the flower bed. The performance is over, you immediately get in the back door of the car and go home. The man's tone was full of forbearance. Otherwise, I don't mind to personally check the relationship between Senior Lu and you. Xiaomint opened her mouth and closed it silently. Poor Chu Chu LV1, is it really only for those over 50? This man is totally unaffected. Is he steel? But the next second, the system tone sounded in my ears. Detect the host's needs, release a new task. Quest content, in front of the goddess, steel can also be broken. Please let this steel man's mood fluctuate beyond the normal threshold. Reward the goddess with 300 experience points. Xiaomint, WTF? Do you want to be so adaptable? Wow, the signing status is changed today, and 4 more will be sent. From tomorrow, there will be no major issues. The sweet chick will be stable for 4 shifts. It is tentatively scheduled for 2 shifts at 12 noon and 2 at 8 p.m, haha. Continue to update after signing the contract. You can rest assured that you will not get lost when you click on the collection. You can ask for recommendation tickets, comments, and cute. Chapter 9. She successfully angered him. God TM, in front of the goddess, steel can also be broken. What does it mean that the mood swing exceeds the normal threshold? Xiaomint is about to kneel. The indifferent man in front of him has released his arm and turned to leave her an aloof back. It can be seen that she is not given the right to speak at all. It is not unreasonable that the original body is afraid of this man. Hey! But how can it be considered as mood swings? Angered him, then she estimated that she would be nailed to the wall in the next second, accepting death's gaze. Please him, hee, the steel straight man is not her current LV1 rookie, she can shake it. What should I do? In her previous life, she was a hard-working little actor who dreamed of becoming a queen. She couldn't get through and eventually regretted the car accident. In this life, she just wants to continue acting quietly and fulfill her dream. She didn't want to get a divorce, but chose the current best solution. This man doesn't ask her for anything. She just needs to be safe, don't cuckold him, and go home on time to see his parents, so she can be in peace. At critical moments, he will cover her. In this way, the two continue to be a little couple, and she feels very good. But let her face her expressionless cold face, please, in every way, it's really hard to do. How to break? Xiaomint walked out of the safe corridor with a headache, silently leading the way in front of the steel man. But in front of him, a transparent panel suddenly appeared. Exchange Mall 1. Acting rises to LV2, 500 experience. 2. Acting LV1 activation, 300 experience. 3. Acting LV1 activation, 300 experience. 4. Acting LV1 activation, 300 experience. This series of lists gave her a pause. What kind of fairy system is this? She struggled with her acting skills in her previous life, spent a lot of money on training classes, watched dramas repeatedly, and finally received a rigid performance evaluation with no talent and aura. Many people in the industry have said that this line of business depends on God's food for food, and acting skills can't be learned. But she didn't believe it, she kept trying, but was ridiculed by various crews. Unpleasant words, she didn't know how much she heard. But this system can be exchanged for acting skills? If she can redeem these, will she also be able to kill those first sisters in seconds, and even realize the dream of the queen? Xiaomint's little heart suddenly thumped. It's done. She opened her eyes, and a burning flame burst out of her eyes. She died once and came back to life. Now that there is a system, isn't it just to give her a chance to make a breakthrough? Now it's just a mood swing for a steel man. If she can't even do this, why should she be a queen? Xiaomint pursed her lips and took a deep breath. Finally, he bravely stopped, raised his rustling face, and looked directly at the man. I won't go back. As soon as the voice fell, she felt a layer of goosebumps on the back of her head, and the cool breeze whizzed. The man quickly stepped on his long legs and passed her blankly. But in the next second, he turned around, his cold eyes seemed to ignite a flame of patient exhaustion, looking down at her from above, with a compelling momentum. His voice is also the same as Lang Kui. Do you think that if you hide in school, I can't do anything about you? Xiaomint trembled. No. The school manager, you can do whatever you want. But she raised her ears and desperately did not hear any system sound of task completion. Xiaomint said silently 10 times in her heart, I'm going to be a shadow queen, I'm barefoot, I'm not afraid to wear shoes. Then, resolutely used the system, holding the idea that the mosquito's legs are a bit useful even though they are small, she trembled and squeezed a sentence from her red lips. If you have the ability, you can carry me away. After finishing speaking, she felt the anger of the man rushing towards her face. She seemed to be in a stormy sea, and she would be broken into pieces in the next second. Drop, the task is complete. Man is irritated successfully and rewards goddess with 300 experience. Xiaomint breathed a sigh of relief, but turned to a smile that was uglier than crying, Big brother, please listen to me explain. But before she had time to make the next note, her small waist was held vigorously by her arms, and Xiaobai's high-heeled shoes instantly vacated and lifted off the ground. The sky was spinning in front of her eyes, and in the next second, she was easily picked up by the man, and when she turned it over, she was carried on her shoulders. The faint green grass and cold fragrance on the man's body immediately surrounded her layer by layer. Her stomach folded and she almost felt like vomiting. What? As you wish. The man's mellow voice is loud and loud. Leave school now. Xiaomint. Is it okay to drop out? Chapter 10. I can't stand up anymore. Withdraw from school? Xiaomint was scared into a cold sweat. She had suffered from the loss of an acting student in her predecessor class and was looked down upon by insiders. Now she wakes up as a junior in the acting department. She is still gratifying and must not destroy the Great Wall by herself. No, no, no. Xiaomint struggled for a while, but the man hooped her tightly and broke her waist. His steps are steady and strong while walking, but the broad shoulders that floated together drove her stomach to the ground for a while. The smell of grass permeating the tip of her nose, like rosemary, a bit cold, but now it became her life-saving straw. She put her small face on his chest, took a deep blush, and finally suppressed the urge to vomit. I was wrong. I went home. Her face is earthy. The man's pace stopped. Because of his sudden stop, Xiaomint almost rushed out because of inertia. She was so scared that she exclaimed again, and her little hand hurriedly grabbed the tie between the man's neck. The man lowered his eyes, his thin lips pressed tightly, and when he saw her lush white fingers, a trace of disgust flashed in his black eyes. Let go. Xiaomint shook, and felt the man's tight muscles. She scolded the system 100 times before she let go of her fingers with a pale face. Sorry. In an instant, her body seemed to be falling freely, head down. But she closed her eyes tightly, and when she was ready to fall to the ground, her slender waist was hugged by the man again. After a while of weightlessness, her soft legs landed smoothly. Until the little white shoes under her feet stepped firmly on the ground, the man squinted at the vortex above her head. Before speaking next time, use your mind to think clearly. Xiaomin's face was flushed. If it were not a task, she would not die, she knew it would be brain dead to irritate the other person. But before the man turned coldly, her small face turned white again, and her upper body fell uncontrollably. Her hands were worthy of pressing on the other's developed pectoralis major hidden under the suit. Xiaomint is about to cry. My legs are soft. I can't stand up. The man's figure became stiff. Drops. The task was over-completed. The man is irritated again, and an extra 300 goddess experience is awarded. Xiaomint. Xiaomint breathed a sigh of relief when he sent the underground husband of maid feeling to the principal's office, feeling that the back of the sailor suit was a little wet with cold sweat. This man is indeed rare and has aura, comparable to the fresh meat nowadays, and more masculine than their figure. But he is also really scary. Xiaomint patted her chest, tried to calm down, and went to the performance hall for the last rehearsal according to her memory. She wants to seize every performance opportunity that the original body does not cherish. She has to work hard and strive to appear on the big screen in her life and get more people's recognition. Xiaomint took a deep breath and tried to raise her head and chest. But as soon as he stepped into the door, a discordant sarcasm rang. Oh, our group performance has finally arrived, and it will be performed soon. You are really punctual. Xiaomint was taken aback, looked up, and saw a tall girl in a red dress with delicate makeup. Yu Shinji, who has guest appearances in many crews, is one of the 3 in the performance department of small roles. He has a good appearance, a good figure, good family conditions, no worries about resources, and has always been proud in school. Love revolves around her. She made the late Xiaomint a target of public criticism. Oh, did you guys see my new cover? At first glance, I think it fits the heroine very well, and it matches the title of the book, wow ha ha ha. Ask for favorites, ask for recommendation tickets, ask for comments standalone update, lonely as snow, let's play together.